The Formula One season is coming to a close with 4 races to go, and the Mexican Grand Prix over the weekend proved that the Drivers' Championship is going to be a close one. The title race may well go down to the wire, with McLaren's Lando Norris and Red Bull's Max Verstappen battling it out. But the question is, what is up with Verstappen? Is there a hint of the Red Bull driver feeling the heat from his competition? But getting to the race, neither Verstappen nor Norris won the race. It was Ferrari's Carlos Sainz who secured the first position. But the highlight of the weekend was Norris and Verstappen's near crash and Verstappen's double penalty. So what really happened there? Verstappen was under the pump because he needed to make things happen at the Mexican Grand Prix. He needed to extend that gap between him and McLaren driver Lando Norris. So in his quest for the hustle, Verstappen ended up committing double faults in lap number 10. Verstappen forced Norris off the track at turn 4. Then he rushed wide to stay ahead, which would have forced a crash unless Norris maneuvered. Because of these two offences, Verstappen was penalised 20 seconds, which led him to finish in 6th place, whereas Norris finished 2nd. The interesting thing to note, of course, here is Verstappen did something similar in last week's US Grand Prix as well. During the last race, though, the stewards found Verstappen's racing within the rules, but in Mexico, Verstappen's maneuvers were more rough and he was penalised. Norris even called him a dangerous driver.
He got what he had coming to him. This guy is dangerous. I just had to avoid a crash, the same as last time. I'll be in the wall in a minute.
And not like Verstappen felt he should have done things any differently. He stuck to the tactics he resorted to during the race.
At the end of the day, if you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter because the penalties are given. That was also honestly not my biggest problem of the race. My biggest problem was that we just had no pace.
Maybe Verstappen is trying to shift his focus to the upcoming race, but what this result has done is that it's made the remaining 4 races that much more interesting. Over in the driver's standings, the gap between Norris and Verstappen has now reduced to just 47 points. Still a massive gap given there are only 4 races left, but mathematically, Norris can still dethrone Max Verstappen for the title. I'll come back to that in a bit, but the major shift in the constructors' standings, what looked like a battle between Red Bull and McLaren, now has become a battle between Ferrari and McLaren. McLaren are leading with 566 points, followed by Ferrari with 537 and Red Bull down to 3rd spot. So clearly Red Bull's grip on the constructors' title has loosened considerably, but is Verstappen on the verge of losing his hold too? More than the points, now the battle has become psychological. Norris, who faced penalty in the last race in Austin, was still calm and composed post that to come to this position and this race and finish 2nd. Verstappen seemed to go rogue in between, reenacting similar tactics with not the result he desired. With this penalty, he's accumulated 6 penalty points so far this season, not the kind of record he would boast of. Another 6 points would mean a race ban. Now, it's a while away to get there, yes, and maybe Max Verstappen will mend his ways for the last dash of the season, the last stretch. The Dutch driver will have to avoid getting into such positions at any cost, because even if he holds a 47-point edge over Norris, the driver's title isn't entirely his just yet. If Norris is able to finish on podium on a few races and Verstappen continues to finish outside of it or encounters a race like the one he had last weekend, Norris is most likely to get ahead. So Red Bull will be telling their driver to probably adopt less aggressive measures and focus on getting the races in the bag here on. Yes, it's not been the perfect year for him or Red Bull. It all started with the controversy surrounding their principal, Christian Horner, with Norris then starting to breathe down Verstappen's neck. The last few weeks have seemed like the master driver is unraveling. So maybe all he needs to do is just look over at the standings. He's still number 1, so he needs to maintain that lead by finishing in the top 5 consistently. But can Max keep his cool till the finish?
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.